Good morning. My name is Kiri Fagan Olmschneider, and my pronouns are she, hers. I'm the chair of the worship committee, and I'm happy to serve as worship associate this morning and call us to worship. I invite you to take a breath with me and center yourselves fully in this moment with these words that invite us to come fully present into this time together. We offer welcome for each weary soul who has found their way here today. We offer thanks for each breath that moves in and through us. We honor the cycles of the earth that nurture us. We celebrate the love that holds us when we cannot hold ourselves. With hope, with empathy, with commitment, with rage, with fear, with grief. We rest and rise, connect and adapt, returning again and again to the source of our being and our becoming, with and for each other. A flaming chalice has been one symbol of Unitarian Universalism for many decades, a symbol of hope, of reason, and of the spark of the divine that shines in all of us. We join our siblings in faith each Sunday by lighting our chalice here in our sanctuary. For those joining online, we invite you to light a flame wherever you are, as we kindle our flame with these words by Reverend Michelle Collins. We light this flame for the wisdom that hums beneath thought in our heartbeat, our breath, the subtle flutter that says, "You are here." We light this chalice. Did you want to come up, Mike? We light this chalice to remember resilience begins in the body's quiet language, whispering us along. And now rise in body or spirit for our opening song, number 100, in the gray hymnal, Peace Like a River. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Urbana-Champaign. We are people of many ages, histories, genders, bodies, identities, and beliefs, who are connected by a shared commitment to our mission to build community seek inspiration, promote justice, and find peace. If you are a visitor today, we bid you a special welcome and invite you to complete a connection card if you'd like to learn more about the life of the church and be added to our weekly newsletter. And if you're joining us via our live stream, please say hello in the YouTube chat and know that you too are welcome this morning. We are a congregation of all ages, which means that we embrace all the noises and little interruptions our kids can bring to a Sunday morning. Kids are always welcome to stay here for the entire service, but our Sunday morning faith development classes do begin again today, and children and volunteers will be invited to their classrooms after the time for all ages, noted in your order of service. People of any age are invited to grab a coloring pack from the box just outside the doors, if you want to keep your hands busy. And if you need more space to stretch, move around, go to the bathroom, you can also go at any time across the entryway into Fellowship Hall, where the service is being live streamed. Our nursery on the lower level is available for little ones 4 and under. And I now invite you to bid each other welcome this morning by turning to a neighbor or writing in the YouTube chat to say hello. I'll ring our chime to begin and end our time of communal welcome. Thank you for those lively greetings. Everyone is welcome to keep those conversations flowing immediately after service in Fellowship Hall with coffee and snacks. And now I'd like to invite, I think we actually do have some kids here today, so if there's any kids who want to come up to the front, I'm going to share a little story. Is there anybody who wants to come up? Ah, Theo, excellent. There we go, we have a few people. Oh, we have a lot of people. All right, welcome everybody. Okay. All right, this week we are exploring how we find resilience through life's challenges. So with that in mind, I want to share a story about how when life gets hard, how we respond when life gets hard. Once upon a time, a daughter complained to her father that her life was miserable and she didn't know how she was going to make it. She was tired of fighting and struggling all the time. It seemed just as one problem was solved, another one followed. I bet we've all felt that way at some point in our lives, right? Yeah. So her father was a chef, and he took her to the kitchen, and he got out 3 things. So I'm going to have you, some people may have read the order of service, they may know, but what do I have here? Potatoes. Yes, and what's this? All right, and okay, yeah, you did read the order of service. I was hoping maybe you had it. Okay, yeah, so I have egg, potato, and coffee, or her father did. Once the he filled 3 pots with water and placed each of them on a big fire. Once the 3 pots began to boil, he placed potatoes in 1 pot, eggs in the 2nd pot, and the ground coffee beans in the 3rd pot. He then let them sit and boil without saying a word to his daughter. The daughter moaned impatiently, waiting to see what he was doing. After 20 minutes, he turned off the fire. He took the potatoes out of the pot and placed them in a bowl. He took the eggs out and placed them in a bowl. He then ladled the coffee out and placed it in a cup. Turning to her, he asked, "What do you see?" What do you think she saw, guys? That's exactly what she replied, with a bit of annoyance. Look closer, he said, and touch the potatoes. She did, and noted that they were soft and fell apart at the slightest touch. He then asked her to take an egg and break it. After pulling off the shell, she observed the hard-boiled egg. My egg is not hard-boiled, so I'm not going to break it. It's actually just an egg shell, so you can't eat it. Finally, he asked her to sip the coffee. Its rich aroma brought a smile to her face. "Father, what does this mean?" she asked. And he explained that the potatoes, the eggs, and the coffee beans had each faced the same adversity, the boiling water. However, each one reacted differently. The potato went in strong, hard, and unrelenting, but when faced with the boiling water, it became soft and weak and fell apart. The egg was fragile, but when faced with the boiling water, it became hard. However, the coffee beans were unique. After they were exposed to the boiling water, they didn't fall apart or turn hard. Instead, they had the strength to absorb the water and transform it into something wonderful. "Which one are you?" he asked his daughter. "When adversity knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you a potato, an egg, or a coffee bean?" In life, things happen around us, and things happen to us. The only thing that truly matters is your choice of how you react to it. You can crumble in fear, turn hard and refuse to change, or you can dig deep, absorb the adversity, and transform it into something new and wonderful. What I love about this story is that it reminds us that we don't choose the challenges that we face, but we can choose how we respond. That choice of how we show up, keep trying, ask for help, and stay steady is what we call resilience. And now the kids and the volunteers are invited to go down for their faith development. I guess. Each week, we practice spiritual generosity by making space for the joys and sorrows we carry with us whenever we gather. We begin this practice with an embodied ritual of singing a blessing song, and today you'll be invited to come forward during that song to light a candle for your joy or sorrow. You are invited to use our Joys and Sorrows cards or submit them via email to joysandsorrows@uucuc.org, and we will share those aloud later in the service. If you need a Joy and Sorrow card and there aren't any in your pew, raise your hand and one of the ushers will bring you one. We trust that this act of sharing lightens our burdens and increases our joys, even if it is just for this hour. I invite you to come forward if you are moved as we sing May the Long Time Sun. We live our mission at this congregation by connecting day to day and week to week through the opportunities both within and beyond our walls. We invite you to subscribe to and read our weekly e-news to stay up to date on all of the activities offered through our faith development program in our congregational life and social action councils. This morning, I want to highlight a few things. Our Generosity Pledge Drive will officially begin next week. This year's theme is Pathway to Plenty, and we invite all of our church members and friends to make a pledge for the coming church year that fits your household and contributes to the thriving path we are forging at this church. In support of our pledge drive, our spring coffee house will be on Saturday, February 21st at 7 p.m. in Fellowship Hall. Sign up now to share your talents and to help with setup and cleanup, and to bring treats to share. Our next See You at the Movies is this Friday night, February 6th, and we will be viewing and discussing the film Black Klansman. Read more details about these and other events in our e-news and check out the full calendar of events on Realm. Each Sunday, in recognition of our very real interdependence and reliance on each other, we pass the plate and share our offering with an organization doing the work of justice in the world. Our shared offering partner for February is the LGBTQ+ Impact Fund through Cunningham Township. Recognizing that LGBTQ+ residents are likely twice as likely to experience homelessness and face barriers to accessing resources such as emergency shelter as the general population, this fund was established by our own Jerry Carden and Tim Temple and is primarily used to pay for up to 2 weeks of housing support for low-income LGBTQ+ identified residents in Champaign County who lack other options. Funds are also used for emergency food, bus passes, and gender-affirming clothing. You can give through Realm and via the online portal on our website. Or if you are here in the sanctuary, the basket will be passed and checks can be made out to uucuc.org, or UUC, and in the memo put shared offering. Half of all non-pledged donations will go towards sustaining the work of this church, and the other half will go directly to our shared offering partner. The ushers will come forward as our offertory music begins, and we invite you to give whatever is generous for you. This is also another time to submit a written joy or sorrow.
This little piece that I composed based on an improvisation is dedicated to Jerry and Tim. I appreciate your friendship.
Our generosity comes in many forms, and we're grateful for all the ways we each give to this community. We'll now make space for our spiritual generosity and share our joys and sorrows. And we have quite a few this week because I'm reading the ones from last week as well as this week. If you have a card still to pass forward, please feel free to share that now. And also, because just in the interest of time, I may summarize some of these that are quite lengthy, so I apologize if I don't read your entire card. This is from Aaron Slayton. He's happy to be here and to have celebrated Imbic, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is a major pagan festival, and he's thankful for those who came out to UU Magic on the 28th for their celebration. A joy. I am so proud UUA was in the faith protest at the Capitol the other day. Our president was arrested with the others, released after 4 hours. Thank you, UUA. And then this is very appropriate from Jerry Carden and Tim Temple. This weekend, we celebrate 45 years of being together. Congratulations, Jerry and Tim. This is from Joe. I've been searching for a thing that I already have. My joy is the love already in my life. This is from Laura. A joyful shout out to Colette Heisland Nanemen. Oh, there's a pronunciation. I probably did not get that correctly. On her birthday today. A great sister, daughter, mother, and friend. Yes. This is from Eleanor. I got to do choir. Congratulations, Eleanor. From Alice Smith, a joy for the third separate protest and action on Saturday in solidarity with Minneapolis. Abolish ICE. The people united will never be defeated. And I know there's some online from last week. This is from Jordan James. Very appropriate for this week. He had a really hard year, but his community, family, group of friends is a beautiful amalgam of the kindest humans I know. Thank you so much for those of you who have shown up for me, shared your support and care, and given me grace in the last several weeks. Each and every kindness kept me rooted in why it is important to stay and keep trying. And I think thanks so much for sharing, because that's very appropriate for our theme of resilience today. From Carla Peterson, anger at the administration and joy for my family. I cannot fathom the cruelty and lack of humanity demonstrated by ICE. And I also love and appreciate my children, their spouses, and grandchildren for helping me with my 85th birthday. Congratulations, Carla. From Ian Bear, today I'm reminding myself of Frederick Douglass's words, "Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did and it never will." I am joyful because despite the horrors that have happened and that will assuredly happen, we are not rolling over, we are not giving up, we are demanding, we are standing and fighting with love, always love. From Beth Simpson, thank you to Eric Chapman, who is going to come shovel my drive. I didn't know who I would call, but he stepped up. And then this was from last week from Jerry Carden, fondly remembering my mother, Marion Carden, this weekend, and at what would have been her 100th birthday. She passed in 2018 at age 92. And this is from Umitha. Our deep sorrow, Umitha's mother passed away, and Marilyn, passed away on Friday, January 23rd. She died peacefully at home with all the family there. Our joy, we celebrated her 91st birthday together just 2 weeks earlier. We are grateful we were with her when her health declined and could care for her in her final days. Thanks so much for everyone who shared this week and last week, and I know that there's lots of things that we're all carrying in our hearts. For all we've spoken aloud and all we carry silently in our hearts, we say thank you for making space together in this community. And now Mike is going to come up and give his reflection.
Oh, it's different up here than down there. I'm nervous. I like you all so much that as I was preparing to do this, I really got nervous. And people came up to me and said, whose names I don't remember. And I always feel guilty kind of looking down to see their name tag, you know. And wish me good luck. So my name is Mike Rupsch, and my pronouns are he and him. Before I retired 5 years ago, I was a licensed professional counselor and licensed clinical social worker. And I worked in many, many different areas of the mental health field in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. For most of that time, I worked for Aurora Healthcare, a large healthcare organization of about 33,000 employees. So we're going to talk about resilience, but it's going to be kind of a little different than how you might think of resilience. You think of resilience as, I got to be resilient. I got to get some resilience, as though you can take out a credit card, you know, and take it to the store. Yeah, give me $100 worth of resilience. It's going to be a rough week. Actually, we're going to talk about resilience more as what we do, what actions we take. Because I have found over the years, through my studies in psychology and psychotherapy, that at very least for me, and for what behavioral psychologists will show you in their research, is that doing is really effective. And for many, many people, doing is more effective in creating health and well-being than fixing your thinking or fixing your emotions. So we're going to talk about resilience from that perspective. It's an evidence-based approach to resilience that utilizes the research from a field in psychology and neuroscience called positive psychology. Yeah, believe it or not, for those of you who didn't know this, there are psychologists who study happiness. And there's a very big body of research that supports happiness, resilience, and positive stress management. And it shows, at least what we're going to talk about today, shows a very positive correlation between practicing the components of resilience that we're going to talk about and positive health, like a decrease in heart disease, a decrease in hypertension, a decrease in type 2 diabetes, and overall, an increase in longevity. And you know what longevity is, don't you? It's dying later rather than sooner. Yeah, that's a good thing to have. We'll also talk about the power of mindset shift, about how to shift your perception and your interpretation of what's happening in your life, especially those challenges. And the chef in our story was an excellent example of that shift, and he was helping his daughter create a shift in her mindset. And so here's a mindset shift for you. You're already resilient. I did this training in different lengths, usually about an hour long, and I don't think the people who came to the presentation were expecting. I think maybe they were expecting me to talk about stress management, and which is, I hate talking about stress management. You know, essentially the speaker says, you're stressed, and if you're not careful, stress will kill you. Now you got to do coping skills. Go home and meditate. I don't have time for that. But you are resilient, and you're resilient already. So here's a real quick story. about how I literally stumbled into this field of positive psychology the last 7 years of my career. So I was getting ready to turn 60, and you can all guess how many years ago that was. Okay, be gentle. I know it was like 6 months ago, right? And I got to thinking about my life and my mortality, because the number 60 seemed like a big thing. And I wondered what I would do with the rest of my life. Now, at the same time, I was having a lot of fun. I had started up 2 things in my life that were really, really fun. And one of them was my wife, to get ready for my birthday, my big birthday, had set aside some money to buy me my first 7-string guitar. I'm a jazz guitarist, and I'd always wanted one for years and years. And so she got that for me, and she wanted to make sure I even had it before the birthday. Now, the other thing is, the other thing I was doing that was fun was I started painting again. So in this time, rolling up to the birthday, I'm having fun. You know, I come home from work, and I can either play my new guitar and learn all about it and have fun, or I can make some paintings. I kind of forgot about the birthday. And a couple of days before the birthday, my lovely wife said, "Where do you want to go for your birthday dinner, your big birthday dinner?" And literally, there was a voice in my head that said, "What birthday?" Because I was having so much fun. So the birthday comes and goes, and I'm sitting in front of my iPad one Sunday morning. I guess Sunday mornings are great times to have profound thoughts or experiences. And I was on my iPad and looking at YouTube, and I see this TED Talk. And the title of the TED Talk was, "The Game That Can Add 10 Years to Life." And so I was having fun, right? And I saw games are fun. That sounds cool. And then I saw can add 10 years to life. I was totally down for that. And so I tapped on the screen and I watched it, kind of dumbfounded. And then I watched it again, and then I watched it again. And then I realized this is what I wanted to do. The TED Talk was by Jane McGonigal. And I told her the name, the Game That Can Add 10 Years to Life. And if you're interested, go find it. It's a very popular TED Talk, and you can find it. She's done, I think, 3 or 4. So just look for the 10-year thing. She presented this evidence-based approach to resilience and to doing. And so I decided to do it. I decided to learn about it. And so I kind of took I didn't realize it, but in retrospect, I realized it was the learn, do, teach approach. First, I learned about it, and then I started to do it. And then sometimes people decide to teach it to people. And because I'm such an extrovert and I talk all the time, that's how I ended up being asked to do this. Yeah, be careful what you say to the minister. I started to do it, and I got some feedback from really important people like my boss and my wife that said, "Geez, Mike, you seem happier. What's going on?" So it connected that this is something that's really working. And the part of the work that I did for Aurora Healthcare is I went on site to teach, I mentioned, to do presentations on health and well-being, but also to do crisis intervention and consultation. And over the years, I really, really got to love our employees, our healthcare workers, because they were so committed and so very nice. And I thought, as I was learning more about myself and doing this resilience thing, I thought, I bet they would like this. And so I sat down and I kind of wrote the first session, and this is sort of an abbreviated session version of it. And I started to do it. And whenever I got asked to do stress management, as I started to get the response from my audiences, I would just say, I got something better than that. And then I started getting emails from all over the organization from managers and asking me to come and do this. And by the end of the 7 years, the last 7 years of my career, I did about 650 sessions. to 13,000 employees, which was so great for me because I got to do I got to teach people what I was practicing. And I tried to make it fun. And needless to say, I ended my career on a real high note. Those were the best years. So if we could get our first slide, Alyssa, there it is. We are going to talk about these 5 components of resilience. For physical, mental, emotional, social, and everyday creativity. Now, if you watch Jane's TED Talk, she only talks about the first 4. But as I was doing this presentation, I found out how creative people were in practicing resilience. And so then I dove back into the research again to see what creativity, addressing life with a creative mindset, are there any health benefits? And sure enough, it's all of those things. It's all those positive health effects and longevity, and especially happiness. And we'll talk more about that in a second. So first, physical resilience. It's all about moving, however you can and whenever you can. What did I write up there? Yeah, move in whatever way you can, but do it whenever you can. My favorite research in that area is, I call it the get up research. There are studies that show that if you get up every 30 minutes and move for 1 to 2 minutes, you'll get those health benefits. Like you'll die later rather than sooner. I would do this training with a lot of nurses. I got on the schedule to do it for the brand new nurses, and they always came. There were usually about 50 of them, and they always came really into the session. It was always at 8:30 a.m., and they were bleary-eyed because they'd all worked nights. Brand new nurses, you're working nights. And I would ask them, I'd tell them about this get up research, and then I'd ask them, does anybody count their steps? And here's another example of mindset shift. Back then, it was before the Apple Watch came out, and counting your steps became so common. And only a couple of the nurses would raise their hand, but there was something different about them. They had a different mindset. They were like, oh, I got 20,000 one day last week. 15, I would say the average was about 14,000 a day. And I said to them, you know, all those steps, you are exceeding the Surgeon General's recommendation for daily activity, which means that Aurora Healthcare is paying you to work out. Mindset shift, and there never failed to be someone you saw that aha look on their face. Oh, really? Another body of research on intermittent daily activity. And that shows that people who, instead of taking a chunk of time at one time of the day to exercise, if they increase their activity several times a day in smaller increments. So like if your goal is to do 30 minutes a day, can you do 3 sets of 10 minutes a day? And this research really gets to the point that's, I think, the most important thing about physical resilience, is that we all do it every day. We do activities all day long. We get up, we walk around the house, we clean, right? We cook. Here's my list: chores, yard work, kids. You saw the children come up this morning, that if that's one of your kids, you know, you're probably putting in some extra steps taking care of them. These are all common everyday things that increase your resilience. So, now, even if everybody can do a different amount of things, and you know, aging is kind of the great equalizer. This year you can't do as much as you did 10 years ago, but even if you can't move that much, you can move some. And isn't it nice to know that even the smallest amount of movement can make a difference in your life and can create physical resilience? So I want you just for a second to think, how do I do How do I create physical resilience in my life every day? Normally, naturally, through exercise. And that's how you do physical resilience. Next is mental resilience. And I think of this is my favorite one, because it's kind of like the icing on the cake for me. So I should have put it last. But it's about being a curious, lifelong learner. And so you can ask yourself the question, what are you curious about? What fascinates me? What interests me? What draws my attention? What excites you? What leads you to awe and wonder? That's where your mental resilience lies. Lots of people have things that they're totally into. I love popular science. I, of course, love music and art, but there are a lot of things I love. I love reading about renewable energy. I love reading about how other countries are continuing to forge ahead in renewable energy research and implementation, even though we're falling behind. It's your hobbies, reading, history, science, the arts, creative activities, collecting things like collecting stamps, travel. Planning for travel is an act of mental resilience. I met someone last night at an activity, and I think her favorite part of her vacations was planning for it, and she was exceptionally good at it. Volunteer work takes or adds to your mental resilience, because when you go to volunteer someplace, you're going to be learning about that work. So stop for a second and think, where does your mental resilience reside? What are your things? And, we could spend time just talking to each other right now. I would do this in my sessions, which is kind of why they went longer, is because I'd get people to talk to each other. And it was amazing what people did. And I had an experience one time. I did it for a group of managers at a hospital. And this one guy, he was the maintenance manager in the hospital. And he looked worn out. His shoulders were slumped, and he listened. But when I had them talk about what their mental resilience and what their creative resilience was, he just brightened up, and he told us about how he did woodworking. And talk about a mindset shift in the moment. He went like this, and he held his hands up, as though he was holding a piece of wood in front of you. And he told us about his passion for woodworking. That fueled his resilience. Maybe you can begin to see that these things kind of can weave together, like they're threads in a tapestry. Your mental resilience and everyday creativity, we'll talk about in a little bit, really work together. We're going to talk about emotional resilience, but emotional resilience and social resilience are very intertwined. So emotional resilience is all about creating, experiencing, and savoring positive emotions. And you may wonder why we should do that, why we should encourage ourselves to experience them, whether they are initiated by someone else or you're creating them yourself. It turns out that emotions are the fuel of happiness. And happiness, the research is just amazing. Happiness research shows if you're a happier than average person, you will have better physical health, mental and emotional health. You'll have stronger social relationships. If you're working, you're more likely to get promoted, and you're more likely to get a raise. Now, those are really good reasons to create positive emotions. So how do you do it? Well, like I said, you experience them. Maybe you watch something funny on TV. Maybe you're hanging out with your best friend and having a great time. Or you go out to some other social activity. Or maybe you just have a thought that pops into your head. Looking forward to something is a classic example of a positive emotion just popping into your being. Let's say you're going to go see your best friend, you haven't seen that person in a while, and it pops into your head. And that emotion, it's there. what happens for us humans is we tend to miss those times, those moments in time. But I'm going to give you some reasons to encourage that. It turns out that the ideal ratio of positive to negative emotions is 3-to-1. Psychologist Barbara Fredrickson showed that if you have 3 positive emotions for every negative emotion, you will become a happier person. 3-to-1. And 3-to-1 is not hard to do. Now, before we run off, let's talk about negativity bias. Negativity bias is a very real thing, and it explains a lot. Rick Hansen is a neuropsychologist who's done a really groundbreaking research on this. Negativity bias is the human tendency to overfocus on negative emotions and experiences rather than positive ones. It is though our negative emotions stick like they're on Velcro, and our positive emotions just slip right through on Teflon. And so he found a solution to that. He found that, and he was looking at brains while he did this research, that if you hold on to a positive emotion, I mean, he was looking at scans of brains. If you hold on to positive emotions for 10 to 30 seconds, that will stick, that neuron will stick in your brain. And if you do this repeatedly, all of those neurons begin to connect together. And so, by holding on and savoring positive emotions, by working for that 3-to-1 ratio, or however you do it, however you notice good things in your life, you're going to be creating a positive neural pathway that competes with, or at least runs in parallel to, negativity bias. And I didn't tell you about negativity bias. It's just an outgrowth of the threat response. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, we humans, our lives were very dangerous, and we very easily could die. You know, we needed to remember where the saber-toothed tigers all hung out and to stay away from there. And so our brain evolved, as it has done to do so many things. It evolved to be hyper-vigilant about danger. And the negativity bias that we experience is, I think, the remnant of that. And you've all been in conversations where it starts out positive, and next thing you know, you're talking about negative stuff. That's just the way our brains work. So I want to remind you, I almost said teach you, but I'm not teaching, I'm just reminding you. I want to remind you about 2 superpowers that you have. One is smiling, and one is gratitude. And I'll tell you about some of the research on that. Smiling turns on your happy brain. Yes, your brain lights up and connects when you feel happy or when you feel a positive emotion. And smiling turns that on. So if someone smiles at you, or we come here and we're smiling all the time because we're so happy to see each other and so connected. This is like resilience. This is a resilience holiday for a couple of hours on Sunday morning. So whenever you can, smile. But here's the real secret of smiling. Rick Hansen found out if you smile for no reason, that is, if you simply activate your smile muscles, your happy brain turns on. So I want you to activate your smile muscles right now. Ready, set, go. You don't have to think happy thoughts, just 4. It's about 5 seconds. 6, 7, 8. Oh, you have such lovely smiles. 10. Guess what? That neuron is in your brain. It is lit, and it's not going to fall off. And it's going to become part of that positive neural pathway you already have in your brain. Smiling for no reason. I learned about this, and I would do it on my way to work on days that I didn't want to go to work. Most days I did want to because I got to have so much fun doing this stuff. But some days, like everybody, I didn't. And I would go, oh yeah, that's right, that smiling thing. And I'd say, okay, I gotta do it. And it worked. It worked every time. And I'll tell you why it works. You really cannot feel two emotions at the same instant. You can't feel angry and anxious at the same instant. You can only, in that moment, feel one emotion. And so, if you activate your smile muscles, and we're not talking about the power of positive thinking, we're talking about the power of neurobiology. Right? You just activate those smile muscles, and it crowds out that negative emotion. And doggone it, it worked every time. So the other superpower I want to tell you about that you have is gratitude. The studies in gratitude show, it's one of those are the foundational studies in the field of happiness, is that if you express gratitude on a regular basis, even only to yourself, you express gratitude, you will become a happier person. So the classic study is write down 3 things you're grateful for every day, and then just let yourself have those feelings of gratitude about those 3 things. Well, I did my own version of it. What I did was I wrote down the 3. I would feel the emotions, hold on to each one. I'd go one at a time. And then while I was doing it, I would supercharge it with a smile. And it was really, really effective. So now you know that those 2 simple things generate lots of positive emotions. And you didn't know, maybe, before you came today, that you have superpowers. You have physical resilience, superpowers, mental, and emotional. So I want you to stop for a second and think about what really delights you. What makes you smile? What triggers your happy brain? Just think about it for a second. Okay, now you got that one. Next, we're going to talk about social resilience. Social resilience is about having a strong social support network, and it's the #1 predictor of longevity. So if you're, you're a nurse and you're working, and there's a really grumpy guy over here who has a problem, and there's, kind of a nice guy, pleasant guy. He's got all these visitors, and the grumpy guy doesn't have any visitors, and they have the same diagnoses. And guess who's going to die and who's not sooner? It's the grumpy guy with nobody in their lives. In fact, there's some sobering research that is a predictor within 5 years for men. And it turns out it's men who retire and have nothing to do and no one to do it with. The science shows they'll probably be dead in 5 years. I don't think anybody here would fit that category. Well, for one thing, you're coming here on Sunday morning. You're coming here on Sunday morning, and it's like inoculating you against the negative health things that would come to you if you didn't have this kind of social resilience that you experience every Sunday morning. Now, people have different kind of social needs. Some people like to be a lot with people, and some people like less. It's just personal preference, whatever works for you. So who is in your social support network? And do you express gratitude to them on a regular basis? Remember gratitude? Expressing gratitude to others is a 50-50 thing. It turns out that when you express gratitude to someone, you get a jolt, and then the other person gets a jolt. And so you're both getting equal amounts of goodness from the one person expressing gratitude. Altruism has been studied. In particular, see if any people fit this example. People who are retired and who do volunteer work. Turns out those people live longer. So for a second, think about who's in your social support network. And now I want you to think about somebody that maybe you ought to express some gratitude to, that you haven't in a while. because you're creating social resilience for yourself when you do that. And you're certainly creating it for the other person. And so if you go to the grocery store on the way home, you can do that. You probably already do it when you smile at the person who checks you out, right? Even if they don't look like they're having the nicest day, you can make a huge difference. And I learned that from my father years and years ago, way before I studied positive psychology. Okay, finally, everyday creativity. Expressing your creative self, your unique creative self. Now, I mentioned I play guitar and I paint, and you go, oh, those are really creative things, but I can't do those things. You know, I'm not very creative. And in fact, one of the times I did this training, I would, at the very end, I would get everybody to talk about what their creative thing was. And this woman was sure, I am not, and she tried to convince the group. And it was a smaller group, and we just got on her. And we asked her, do you do this? Do you do this? Do you do this? And finally, I asked, well, do you take pictures with your phone? And she says, oh, I love to do that. And we all went, gotcha. So everyday creativity is observing life through the lens of creativity, your own unique lens of creativity. It's putting a creative stamp on whatever you do, whether it's cleaning. Yes, cleaning is a creative act. You decide when to do it, how to do it, how much to do, what to use. You know, maybe you've just been to the store and you have a new cleaning. My wife bought me a new dusting rag. Hey, wait, I think I got set up. Problem solving is a creative act. Cooking is creative. Gardening, you know what they say about gardening as an act of creativity. It's a hobby that will really grow on you. Don't encourage me, don't encourage me. And being with children is an act of creativity. And as you saw all that energy come up, I always love to see that the little kids, they come up and all of a sudden there's this huge swell of energy. So let me ask you this question. Where do you apply your everyday creativity? So think for a second. Common everyday things, hobbies, interests. And there's a lot of resilience in there. I could have come up here and said, you need to get resilient, people, because times are bad, right? And you would not have felt very good about it. And it would have been almost a lie, not quite, but kind of an untruth or a half-truth. Yes, there are terrible things that are happening, and yes, in your own life you have challenges you face. But it would have been a disservice to you to not tell you that you are already resilient. It is like each one of you has this tapestry that is your life, and those threads run through and around each other. They're beautiful, vibrant colors, and they make up the beautiful tapestry that's your life. So, in closing, we're going to put up the last slide. There's just some references for you of books that you would really love if you liked this talk. So you can go do it. You can go do resilience. Thank you very much.
And now please rise in body or spirit for our closing song, number 121 in the Gray hymnal, We'll Build a Land. We'll close with the one that we frequently use. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.